Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor. Call you sponsor. Call you sponsor. Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call.
And is this a recent recollection?
You know, I've had it for a while, and I'm in this writing group, and it was like, hey, write something. And I was like, oh, I have these pieces. And I went back into this thing where I just kind of do stuff about my life so I can remember. And I saw this one, and I was like, oh, and I grab it, and I think it's finished, right? But I keep going, and I keep mining, and I keep pushing. And I mean, literally about an hour ago is when I got to the bread and the crust stuff. So it's so much fun. Like, I love that we get to keep growing and unearthing, and we get to explore, is it hope? Is it optimism? And also, we don't have to chain ourselves to one or the other and be there forever. Like, that's one of the best things to me about recovery, is that we say we're self-effacing, and we say we want to grow, and we are willing to challenge old belief systems.
Wow, this is really inspirational. I can't help but think, I remember when I first came in, and I still sometimes hear, God, universe gives us things that we can handle. You know that saying? And it's like, yeah, some things just take time to surface.
Right.
And I think we might have spoken about dreams, and I'm like, and I rarely recall, and so I know I have them. At one point I was like, I don't dream. And they're like, no, dude, you just don't remember. I was like, oh, really? But like, I don't remember, but I'm slowly, like, maybe it's because we spoke about them a few episodes ago or whatever, where I was like, oh, I'm slowly having, like, remembering dreams or knowing that I'm like in that twilight stage, whatever it's called, when I'm waking up, where I'm like, oh, I've had a dream, or I'm dreaming. And so I'm going to put like a dream journal, and or we have technology today, so I was just going to do like a voice memo to myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I've done that where I think I even had ChatGPT do a script for me for my Twilight voice recording, and make it specific to me and things that I want to achieve and my goals, and do it like as I went to bed at night.
Ooh, I love this.
They say something about your voice is what really connects.
Yeah, I believe that. I think, I mean, if I think about our disease, right, which is centered in my brain and speaks to me in my own voice, and whatever, those narratives are. So you have a recording that you've recorded for yourself that you play as you're sleeping?
Well, the problem with me and my ADHD is that I go in spurts and stages, and I go with a recording that I did it, and I think I did it for 2 weeks, and then I'm on to something new with the Huberman Lab, or Anne Lamont, or, Brene, or Marianne, or whatever it is. But yeah, I did it for 2 weeks, and it was amazing.
Wow, that's inspirational. Speaking of Marianne, who we love, someone sent me a screenshot of a daily reader that apparently she wrote, and then when I Googled and Amazoned it, I couldn't find it. I need to find out, but it's I don't know how many days there are in it. It was listed by day, so it was like day 9, and it was similar to like a 24-hour a day book, or one day at a time, or daily reflections, where it was one of those kind of, where it had like a meditation, a prayer in it. And I was like, this?
I feel like I remember it, but I'm wondering if it was an email, like a newsletter thing she sent out. And then if not, I'm wondering if it was a book. I just can't remember.
I mean, when I went on Amazon, there was a book, but it wasn't digital. And the person sent me a digital. I need to just basically get to the bottom and follow up. But I was like, this is interesting. Like I literally saw it on like thriftbooks.com. Like you could buy a physical book. And I was like, interesting. Interesting. Okay, hope and optimism. I'm addicted to Simon Sinek and his A Bit of Optimism podcast. And I don't know. I think part of it can also be semantics between the optimism and hope. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because to me, I was trying to say like one's in the now, like you were saying, and one's in the future, but I feel like they're both in the future.
Yeah. I think they both are in the future. I think optimism was more of the belief, and then hope was more of the action, at least through this definition where, that we have our own agency where we can impact our future, but both, I believe, are still future or not necessarily dealing with now.
Yeah, and I like a lot of the yin and the yang, right? So before I used to believe I kind of did the toxic positivity. I got sober and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm always happy. And if I'm not, I just apply the steps. And if you guys think I'm angry, I'm not, because like I'm doing the steps. And even though I still have a problem in my life, I promise I'm doing the steps. And I just remember getting scared to share in meetings because people would think I wasn't doing the steps if I was having a hard time. And, the yin and the yang is that you have to have both. You have to have, it says we apply these principles in all of our affairs. Well, how am I supposed to apply them if everything's going grand all the time?
I've been guilty of this optimism, gratitude, whatever we want. It's like, and I got it directly from my mother, actually. I remember texting her one day saying, I really miss my dog that had passed. And she replied with, they lived a great life. And in that moment, I was like, oh, yeah, mom isn't there to hold space for emotion and or experience an emotion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I've been just as guilty on the other side where I'm like, at least it could be a lot worse, where it's like, yeah, I totally skipped I totally skipped the feeling. We just like bypassed an actual feeling and a moment of connection and vulnerability, where it's like, have some perspective on this, and I've done it to myself and to others, not surprisingly. I mean, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And, I think, yeah.
I mean, I just think it's everyone's favorite thing to say in program is it could be a lot worse. And I subscribe to that 1,000,000%. I said it to other people. Other people said it to me. But now I'm in a place where, nope. Like when somebody says, I'm really having a hard time with my boss and it feels like they're abandoning me and I'm really upset, I go, that sounds really painful. Like I would probably feel upset too if I were in your position.
That's so beautiful. Like that's something I'm practicing, and you're one of the people that are actually modeling that for me, because that is foreign to me, to reflect back feelings and or hold space for feelings, someone else's and or my own. Like that is been like my jam lately, as far as like on a daily basis, just like being aware of what's there, and then acknowledging it.
It is addictive to give somebody room to have a feeling and watch them experience validation for a feeling and allowing other people to let themselves off the hook. Ooh, it's addicted. It's a new drug for me. It really is like, how can I let this person who I can see right in front of me is giving themselves such a hard time. How can I say something or create a space that's going to allow them to embrace what they're feeling instead of trying to talk themselves out of it while they're trying to talk me out of it as well?
Yeah, it's a skill. I recently heard Dr. Becky talk about that, where she, I think it's like her whole thing is like parents want their kids to be happy, and that's the issue. The goal needs to be resilient children, and how do I build a resilient child versus a happy child, which is fixing things for them or making them feel a certain way or not experiencing things, right? But it's like what you always talk about is like, I just need someone to hold my hand and sit next to me.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things. I love me some Dr. Becky.
So we're at our final 5, and I have a question.
Yay!
Who is the person who most influenced the person you are today?
I'm gonna start crying. And this answer is not formed in humility. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way. Shocker. It's me. It's me, people. Dude, I was in this bathroom with this girl, Michelle, at the private school, and I'd say, Michelle, can I borrow your comb? And she'd go, no. And I'd go, Michelle, I'm going to win an Oscar one day. And you're going to be sitting here going, I really wish I would have lent Misty my comb. And you're going to be feeling really bad about it. So, Michelle, I'm going to ask you again, can I borrow your comb? She's like, sure. She gave me her comb. I was like, thanks, Michelle. I'm going to thank you at the Oscars. I walked myself down the aisle. When I got married, I walked myself down the aisle. I did not have a dad. My mom didn't even show up at my wedding. She was alive, but she didn't make the trip, and which was fine. She would have been in every single frame of every single picture and video. Anyways. And then I remember when Snoop Dogg accepted his speech and was like, the person I want to thank most is me. And I was like, that's my line, Snoop. You're stealing my line. But really, there's some type of resilience, and I guess it's a higher self, it's a higher power, but there's something innately in me that all the times with all the chaos and kidnapping and neglect, there's something innate within me that has said, I'm going to get sober and do this deal. And yeah, long answer. How about you, Sam?
I don't know. I guess if I think about this question honestly, I don't know. I mean, is it a person or persons? The thing that's coming to me right now is, I think it's like the trials and tribulations have actually shaped me into me and have had the most impact, right? So for me, the big blips on the thing are perfectionist mom, extra, father having affairs, and then the bullies. Like, I think those are the 3 big things, right? Like, and the way that it impacts me is like I am more compassionate, I'm more inclusive, and more like a better listener because of all of it, I just think back to this other meeting I was in, and there was a guy that said he had one day, and I remember being a newcomer and me saying my day count, and then people saying like newcomer's the most important person, and then no one came up to me, and I saw him with his hands in his pocket in the back corner. Huge meeting, 150 people. No one was going over. I made like a beeline, and I was like, welcome, like. Yeah, so I think it's like those, like the difficulties have ultimately led to me, shaping me to become that person that I'm supposed to be.
That's so beautiful. And that's my favorite part. The episode is hope and optimism. And it's like, yes, that is the part that the contrast is where we even know what hope and optimism are, is in the contrast.
Oh, thanks, Misty.
Thanks, Sam. I love you.
Love you too.
Bitches, y'all go call your sponsors.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your sponsor. Call your.
Send us an email with comments, questions, or concerns, bcysponsor@gmail.com.
Don't forget to rate 5 stars.